Good morning. Today is the 16th of October and I'm here at Torque Moto Cafe, which is near Horsham in West Sussex. This is the memorial event for a chap by the name of Roy Webb, who was a big classic car enthusiast, and I've actually been having a look at some of his collection over the last 24 hours or so. Got some slightly complaining friends in the background there. We'll have a look at some of the cars. I've actually driven most of them now, but there are a lot of others that have turned up for the event, which don't belong to Alan, who's his son. First of all, I think this actually is one of the last Mini Coopers. It's absolutely sort of correct in the details as far as I can see. I'm not really a Mini expert, viewers, as you know, but 71, 72 registration, I think they were made as late as that. Based on the Mark III Mini, we've got all the correct details which would have been right for one of these. And yes, you can hum the Leyland Cars theme tune to yourself, because we do like that. We are very big fans of that. So Cooper S, 1275 I think these were by now, but very late. They did, as you can see, make the Mini Cooper with the Mark III Mini body shell. There is one right here. Very rare car. MGB here, very late one. 80 to 81 registration, so one of the last on the rubber bumper. And it's not one of the special editions that was right at the end. It's the standard one, but this is the specification that they came with these sort of road style wheels. There's the steering wheel and the interior and all that sort of stuff. That's what the later ones look like. I think this is vermilion, this colour, from what I could see. There are some of these which are even later than this. I think the latest one I've seen is on an A registration, which would mean it was made in 1980 but not registered till 1983. 1979, Maxi 1750 HLS, the most luxurious Maxi I think we ever made was the 1750 HLS, not even actually called an Austin by this stage. I did a registration check on this earlier on. It just comes up as an Austin Morris, of like the Minis of this period did, because they were made by the Austin Morris division of British Leyland, but the Austin badge has been removed by this stage. So not a Maxi 2. This is a little bit too early for that. But we've got some more friends here as well. Hello. I'm getting distracted by friends today, viewers. So yes, 79. Some wing mirrors on here, opposed to the door mirror. Super cover sticker there. Another late example of a car here is this 1997 Rover 100 Ascot. I think this is an SE actually, Ascot SE. These went out of production in December 97 due to a disastrous crash test by Euro NCAP, which didn't go very well. But considering that the roots of this car date back to the late 70s, it's not really a surprise in a way, but I quite like these actually. I would like to have a go in a Rover 100. I think this is a 111. I mean, they were just badged by this stage as a Rover 100. But yeah, this is the Ascot SE. Very early MGF here. This is a 1996. I think they were just called a 1.8i in literature at the time. Little green piping on the interior. This has actually got an airbag in it as well. Even some of the late MGTFs didn't get a passenger airbag, so that's unusual. Very nice colour though, this sort of British racing green. 1992 to 3, original generation Saab 900. This is an SE automatic. It's a very late first generation 900. It's a 16 valve engine. I don't know what these wheels are off actually, viewers. If somebody could tell me, I'd appreciate it. I don't think they're like turbo aero wheels. I think they're off something else, but I really don't know. I quite like them though. So yes, ignition key down on the floor between the seats. Can't really see it from here though, but yes, an auto. And we have a little moose friend in the back as well, who's proudly wearing the Swedish colours there. Afraid we don't talk about diesels on this channel, viewers, so we're going to have to skip this Range Rover. Although I have travelled in that, not that I can tell you about it. But this, yes. Now we're getting into the selection of cars that's owned by Alan, and those two at the end were owned by his father. So those four there, I've driven all of those already, and the reviews I'm in the process of being edited. You will see them later, but this is the one I've got today. Very late MG Metro 1300. I think this is an 89. It actually could be a 90. I think it's an 89 though. So we've got all the correct details for this car. We've got the rear sort of spoiler at the back, the sort of late decals, the correct alloy wheels for this. There we go. There's the Instagram for Alan and his cars. So I'm looking forward to having a go in this later on. One of the things you'll see is actually it's got the high fuel filler up there, which was only introduced at Metros in 1989 on the 3-door. Because for the lower type, well, it was a bit dangerous. If that wasn't sealed properly, it could spill fuel onto the rear tyre, which yeah, wasn't too good. But yeah, beautiful condition, of course. 1978 Princess 2200 HLS manual in this amazing shade of bronze with the brown vinyl roof. Just absolutely as 70s as it gets. So I enjoyed my time with that yesterday. Also enjoyed a time with this. This is a car that some of you will have seen on Instagram or the YouTube community tab. And it's a 1968 Austin 1800 Mark II. It's a very early Mark II. This is an unrestored car. So the paint looks a little bit tired and there's bits of rust in it, but that doesn't really matter because it's unrestored. It's just it's amazing. So we went over to a garage and started this up yesterday. And yeah, the space in here is utterly ridiculous. I'll obviously be able to show you more in the full review which I've done of this. 1968 Triumph Herald 1360 convertible with a 1500 engine in it. This thing absolutely flies. It's really, really fast. Like surprisingly so. Oh, hello again. Yeah, so it's got a 1.5 engine in it rather than the original 1.3, and it goes like a scolded cat, this thing. You've got to be a bit careful because there's no servo systems on the brakes. Yes, I was trying to gingerly guide this around the streets of Crawley yesterday, which was interesting. Hello, sir.
Hello, you're right.
There is Mr. Webmore himself. So, last one, these cars are actually in an age order. This is the oldest one, 1964 Austin 1100. In some ways, Alan said to me that this was his favourite, actually, of the collection that he has. There is one car missing, which I can't show. That's on a restoration at the moment. I kind of agree with him in a way. His father and he actually restored this car at about 2014. Unfortunately, with some of the bodywork which was outsourced to somebody else, it wasn't done particularly well, and there are sort of imperfections showing through, rust coming through. It's going to have to be done again, which is a real shame. But a really sweet car, really, really nice to drive. And I hope you enjoy the reviews of all of these cars on the channel. 1980 to 81 Ford Escort Mark III, 1.3 gear, 3-door, incredibly rare specification, with the infamous CVH engine, which I have driven in one of these. It was an 85, so relatively late for a Mark III. This is a very early one, but yeah, you know, the purity of the shape of this early car is amazing. It's in very nice condition, actually. That there just aren't very many of these left. Obviously, they were really, really big sellers back in the 80s, but you know, they just rusted away and the values were really low, so nobody really cared, did they? 1998 to 9 Mini Cooper. This is a Mark 7 Mini. So towards the end, I think this actually, in some ways, could even be a Rover Group registered car. It's certainly got the right plate for it, but we've got a sticker here from sort of Worthing. So perhaps it's registered by a Rover Group and then sold by the garage in Worthing. That tends to be what happens actually with press cars. They don't tend to have plates saying, you know, Rover Group on them when they're sold onto the public by dealers who have to change them for the dealer plates. So we've got a Volkswagen here with some Porsche wheels on it. Say a 1300, I don't know what engine is in there. Larger rear window, 72, 73. Surprised there's only one of these here. You expect to go to Classic Car Show and see millions of these actually. But that is a very nice colour actually, I like that. 1963 Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider. Quite late for one of these, for sort of 105 and 115 series of coupes kind of replaced these. It's a very beautiful design. And before you ask, you know, why doesn't this car have an A at the end of the plate if it's a 63? It's because not all local authorities adopted that system until I think around 65, 66. So you do find 63s on plates without any suffix on them. 1956 Jaguar XK140, proudly sort of showing the number of times they've won Le Mans by that stage. Look at this. Look at all this wood. Wood and leather, lovely paintwork. Just a beautiful old car. Someone's parked this Frog Eye Sprite right next to it. I don't exactly know exactly what year. Some of these cars I've done some prep work on and I've done a reg check on them. This one I haven't. But these were made between 1958 and 1961. I like the colour on this, and of course we've got a green interior as well. I don't know what that's. Oh, it's an armrest. I suppose if you had a little friend, you could put little friend on there as well. 1969 to 70 Triumph Herald 1360. Another Herald 1360 convertible, maybe still 71. That's got the original steering wheel in it. The one that was owned by Roy Webb himself has a different steering wheel in it. I like both of them really, to be honest. I like the original one and I like the aftermarket one too. 1982 to 83 Alpha Sud. I think this is a TI, so it's a Series 3 I think they call this. It's a really, really late one because production of these finished in 1983. And it is a TI with a little clover leaf there. I'm amazed whenever I see an Alpha Sud because the propensity for these things to rust was just ridiculous. But that's a beautiful condition. I've probably seen this somewhere before, honestly, viewers. You know, I go around a lot of shows and I see a lot of cars, so I've probably seen that somewhere before. That's really nice. From exactly the same era in a very similar colour as this Mark 1 Golf GTI. Those wheels I think are actually off a Mark 2. From what I can remember, I think that looks like the original engine. I could be wrong. A lot of you people out there who are experts in older Volkswagens will tell me, I'm sure. That's in very, very nice condition indeed. It's in very nice condition. It's a facelift one. The giveaway straight away is these rear lights. It's a very easy way to tell. There's other ways too, but the rear lights is a very easy way to tell. Facelift came about 1980 when the Jetta came in. So viewers, more Herald 1360 convertible action. This is a even later one on a J, so 7071, so right at the end. Oh, someone's brought their child along today. That's fun. I think it's marine ply on this. Some of the wood in here, but I could be wrong about that. Seems to be sort of the thing to put a luggage rack on there, which is a good idea, really. Boots quite big on these though, actually. Ooh, 1963 Ford Consul Capri. Ooh, very typical colour of the early 60s. I mean, these were, again, like so many other cars of the time, just horrifically rusty back in the day, and they didn't last very long because they were so expensive to make that they discontinued them in 1964. So a very rare survivor and a beautiful car. Unfortunately, the styling dated really quickly on these as well. So when these came out in 61, it was very much of the moment, but by the time the car sort of went out of production, it was sort of over really for this type of design. That's very nice though. Ooh, this one's for sale, as Mr. Bill from the Fuel Power channel says. This could be yours. 1988 to 89. Bentley Turbo R, I think. And yes, that is a beige leather interior. I do like a nice beige leather interior, particularly with wood. Oh, it's not a turbo, it's a turbo. Obviously getting my Bentley turbos and R's mixed up. I do apologise for this. I should have said at the beginning that there will be mistakes and I might fall over and things like that. So it's just the way it goes on this channel. Caterham here, I have no idea what year this would be. It's 7360S. I don't know what that means. It probably means it's very fast and I can't fit in it very well. That's probably what it means. Ooh, another 1963 Ford. This is a Thunderbird. This is the sort of type that you see Thunderball, I think. It's a slightly later one than that, but this is definitely become a generation of. Look at this. This is crazy. This goes to show that the sort of size of cars that Ford were selling in America in the sort of coupe class were just far bigger than anything we were getting over here. The colour actually in real life is a lot more blue. It looks very silver on video, but it's a much sort of deeper blue. Grand Crusader 1973. As far as I remember, these were actually based on a Hillman Imp, or rather they had Imp engines. I don't know if the chassis is completely unique, it could be. Someone's left the sort of Webasto roof open so we can take a look inside. There we go. Those do look quite like Hillman Imp controls, but I could be wrong. Yes, very interesting, viewers. Not too many of those around. Not too many of these around either. This Mark II Ford Consul, the deluxe version, about 1960, something like that. And as I always say, I can't tell the difference between a high and a low line one. I'm really sorry, but I can't. So we're going to have to continue before I get found out for my lack of knowledge. 1982 to 83, Land Rover Series 3 County. Ooh, it's luxury in here. Look at all those well-upholstered seats. I think this is the 88-inch wheelbase. The 90s didn't come out until I think 1983. So this is still on a Series 3. MGB, there are a couple of these here today actually. This is a more standard looking one. Be around 1974, something like that. The rubber bumper ones came out in 75, so if I just got December 75 disc in it, it's probably an early 75 then, just before they introduced rubber bumpers. Nice colour that, I don't know what that's called. Someone maybe in the comments section can tell me. Much earlier MG here, I think this is a YA or YB, it's a 1951, and that is a beige interior, but I'm not sure if there's any leather in there. Certainly we've got sort of Bakelite and wood and things. Look at that really thin rimmed steering wheel. These were made kind of after the war to sort of, I suppose, try to entice people to buy cars again, because yeah, well, the car industry didn't have a great time during the Second World War, did it? Another MG F here. This one's a later one than the earlier one we saw. On the facelift, I think it's about 2000, something like that. Personal plate, so I can't quite tell. Another MGB here. 72, 73. Do we have the Fishmouth Grill, viewers? No, we don't actually. This is a bit later then. 2006 Dodge Ram Rumblebee. Interesting, not sure I know any about these. Oh, the Hemi Magnums, I have heard of those. 2000 Mark I Ford Focus Estate. This one's a gear. Excellent, viewers, and fortunately it is not a forbidden fuel one, so therefore we can discuss it. I've driven one of these actually on the channel. The one I drove was a facelifted one. It was a 2003 with the automatic gearbox with a 2-litre engine. Pretty good actually. More mini action here. Another Mark 7 Cooper. 97-98 registration. That could be a beige leather interior, viewers. Oh, it's got wood as well. When it's dark blue. Now that's the sort of specification we like. It's a Cooper Sport as well. Excellent, viewers. 1970-71 Porsche 911T. This one is right-hand drive, so I highly suspect this might be a UK car actually. Obviously it could be a South African import, something like that. Looks rather nice actually, viewers. Very late Mark II Golf GTI here. Big bumper model with the BBS wheels. 91-92. Let's see if this is a 16 valve or not. No, this is an 8 valve with a rather large exhaust. It's very difficult to sort of go from video how shiny this paint is. You can't really see just how sparkly it is. That's quite amazing. AC Cobra is disappearing. I don't think it's an original Cobra, it's a replica, but it's quite an early one. It's a 72 from, I don't do the plate check on that. Ooh, another Mini's just turned up. Someone's getting some decent photographs as opposed to my incoherent, unprofessional rambling. What's this one then? Is this it's another Cooper, viewers. Still the same kind of era to be one. It's a Mark III 70-71 registration. Got the mini light wheels. Could well be another Cooper S actually. 1958 Triumph TR3 with a very nice kind of colour scheme. It's pretty crazy actually. No side screens today. That's with that sort of deflector does help a little bit. So we've got quite a few other Triumphs here today. 1967 Heralds 1200 Saloon. The indicators on the front are actually different from the earlier one that's just over there, which we'll look at in a second. I always forgotten that they still made the 1200 Herald as late as this, but they did. I think they made it until about 1970. Got some Vitesses here. 3 2-litre Vitesses. 67, 68 this one. You've seen all of these saloons with Herald all Vitesses, little Triumph logo there. That one's a saloon. 1966 Vitesse 2-litre convertible. This is an early one actually because the 2-litre only came out in 66. The latest of the 3 Vitesses, 68, 69. I think that's the original wheel for these. This is an aftermarket one that's quite popular with a lot of Triumphs. You actually get a rev counter in this as well. The 1360 doesn't get a rev counter, but the Vitesse does. Very kind of typical of the year, this two-tone paintwork. This NSX, I'm not actually sure what year this is actually, I'm not sure. But the sort of thing that I want to have a go at some point in my life here, so it would be quite good fun. So here's the earlier Herald 1200, this is a 63. Again, as I said earlier on in the video, they didn't actually put suffixes on all the plates in 63 for all authorities. Some of them did, some of them didn't. And in Oxford here with JO, they decided not to. I think they sort of tidied that up by 65. But yeah, this is 63. Indicators on the front, as you can see, are a little bit different. Someone's very kind of left a window open for me, so we can take a look at the rather basic interior. The most basic Herald of all was called the S, which only came with a 948cc engine and was actually in production still at this stage. This is a 1200, which is a little bit faster. A bit more power as well. 948 only had 34.5 horsepower, which isn't a lot really. Got a GT6 this one is, not a Spitfire, it's GT6. I think this is a Mark III with tail lamp slide. That actually says on the back it's a Mark III, which is good. They didn't actually last that long, the GT6s. I can't remember why they took them out of production, but they did. They kept changing the rear suspensions from one type to another as well. This one's 71-72 with some numbers and things on it. That's very nice in there actually. Again, I'd sort of fancy having a go at one of these viewers. I don't know if going to be able to, but there we go. 2002 Volvo C70 convertible. I really would like to have a go on one of these. I keep seeing them at shows and things. But yes, a beige leather interior with wood. I do like a nice beige leather interior. I'm not surprised someone's got parking sensors on this because the rear visibility doesn't look very good. I'm also not surprised the other car they have is a Volvo. Oh, and here is a Spitfire. It's a Mark IV, so this will have a 1.3 engine in it. Same engine as a Herald 1360. Southampton plate AA, or later I think it's maybe Salisbury. 71-72 plate. Ooh, someone's done some seats individually in here. There is actually a Spitfire probably coming up on my channel at some stage, because that's the car that's missing from Alan's collection. That's at the stores at the moment. 1971-72 MG BGT V8. I've never seen a wide body one of these, viewers, but here we are. It's a wide body one. Looks pretty mean. Interesting is this is actually a City Golf. This is a South African car. They made the Mark I Golf in South Africa until 2009. This is 97-98. It doesn't have the later dash in it, which actually was lifted from the Skoda Fabia. This has the original Mark I dash in it, although there are some differences. Principal one of which is actually the steering wheel, and then the gear levers are a bit different as well. But I thought I'd never seen one of these actually. Rear lights, of course, are different by this stage. That's it's a neat looking car. Ooh, a Volvo 121 Amazon. Quite a late one actually. By this stage, a 144 was in production. 68-69 registration. This green is really nice, viewers. Again, it's one of these cars I'd like to have a go in actually, if I can actually get off of one, but that's very nice. 2002 to 3 Porsche Boxster. 1988 to 9 Mercedes Benz R107 300 SL. There we go. Say hello to Chris if you're interested in the car. Mr. Bill says on the Fuel Power channel this could be yours. That's very nice, viewers. Unos over here. 70. No, sorry. We're in a completely different decade. 1992-93 registration. See the Japanese spec of the MX-5. This is a manual. I've driven an auto one of these actually on Sensible Second-Hand Classics. But it was about this kind of era too. We've got Fiesta STs aplenty here. Actually, that's not an ST, it's a style. That's an ST. And then an EP3 Honda Civic Type R. Of course, you know, which wouldn't be a car meeting without one. Ooh, an MG Midget, and quite a late one as well. Rubber bumper. I wonder if that's like Hammerite or something. It was quite popular to do that sort of thing back in the day. So yeah, 78-79 registration. This would be a 1500 with a standard SC engine, but was also used in the later versions of that Spitfire there. They're very sort of tricky to get in and out for someone like me. Look at the size of this rear bumper though, it's massive. Probably can't talk about this car, viewers. Don't know about this earlier 5 Series, so we'll have to check. The Fiesta's got the infamous EcoBoom engine in it, so we might have to avoid that. Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe err on the side of caution and not film that. But this 1990 to 1991 Seat Terra. This is the van version of the Seat Marbella, which was based on the Mark I Fiat Panda. So lots of sort of Spanish and Italian collaborations going on here. Look at that, just really, really simple, and just a sort of box put on the back. More Fiesta ST action here, of course. Look at all these different things on here. Made in Spain, yes, very much so. I just haven't seen one of these for forever. If anyone could tell me what wheels these are off, then please do tell. And also this trunk somehow seems to stay on there. It must be glued on or something, as I saw that actually on there when it was moving. We got Porsche action here. Is this it's a Cayman or something, viewers? I'm not very good at this sort of stuff, I'm afraid. Yeah, I think that's a Cayman. 2012 BMW 130i. The interesting sprouting gearbox coming through there. Of course, I came in a Rover because Alan requested that I did, so here we are. 2000 Nissan Silvia. Is this an S15 Silvia, viewers? I'm really bad at this sort of thing. One of my friend has got one of these actually, but he doesn't let anybody else drive it, so I'm afraid it hasn't appeared on my channel because I can't drive it. But yeah, Japanese import. By this stage, these were not being sold over here at all, regardless of what badge they wore. Ooh, rear wiper, excellent. Oh, viewers, an EG Civic with some wheel arch extensions. I've driven an EG Civic, an EG4. This is not an EG4. That looks like a Honda S2000 speedometer in here. Quite a late one for an EG Civic. This one, ooh, something like 1995, I think. That's one. I think it was the last year for these. They're worth a lot of money now. Skoda Scala. I did a walk around of one of those years ago actually. And a 9N Polo, did one of those earlier on this year. 2004 Smart Roadster. This looks like a concept car, but actually they did make these in serial production. I haven't seen one for quite a long time actually. They didn't make them very long, but both the Smart Roadster, and I think there was a coupe one associated with this as well, and the 4.4 didn't last very long. They're both introduced around the same time, about 2003, 2004. Morgan here, I think this might be a modern Morgan actually, with a 5-speed gearbox. I think that's out of an MX-5 or something. I don't know what year this is. It'd be around, I don't know, 2000, like that. It's called a Morgan 3 wheeler, of course. 2017 Audi A1. 2006, I think this is. I had to do a reg check on this. Aston Martin V8 Vantage, very, very nice, viewers, and it's a manual too. We'd like to have a go in one of those, viewers, if it's possible. This sort of Land Rover stuff, probably a bit too modern for me to get excited about, particularly as I know that one there we can't talk about. But we have found something else here. Wow, a Jowett Javelin. Oh, sorry, a Jowett Jupiter. Why does it say Javelin on it, viewers? The Javelin was the saloon version of this. Unfortunately, in 1953, the whole company went under. Company based up in Yorkshire. The engine was made in Yorkshire, most of the car was, and they just had too many reliability issues, and they had to close the company down. It's a real shame. It's a very unusual colour. I've not seen a Jupiter in this colour before, actually. That is it's pretty special, isn't it? And of course, no classic car gathering would be complete without a Triumph Stag. This is a Mark II Stag, I think. That plate is a personal one. This is an auto. Can't remember the name of this colour, viewers. If somebody knows what this colour's called, then do let me know. Even if it's a personal plate, though, the plate actually can't be it can't be any older than the car, so it must be 74 or later. Is that a Nissan 370Z, viewers? Yes, it is. I sort of quite like these actually. Yeah, this is an auto. I didn't know they made an auto one. I thought they were all manual, but shows how little I know about these, doesn't it? So this MG ZS is leaving. It's a facelifted ZS. I think that's just a K-Series one. That'd be probably a 120. I think I'd know that it wasn't one because I would have heard the roar of the KV6. BMW M4 2016. And then we have Z3 here. If that registration's corresponding with the date of the car, that's quite an early one actually. Not sure what engine that would have in it. Still got a 5-speed gearbox. It's not a 3 litre or anything. It's a 2.8. This is the one that was just before. I've got a Westfield here. This is a 2002 Westfield. I think this is a 1600, from what I understand. So presumably that is a yeah, it's a Ford engine. I think wow, someone's actually put some carbs on there, so we haven't got a fuel injection or anything, have we? Is that a Pinto or something? Yes. I don't know. I'm not very good at this sort of thing. Maserati. I think these were called a 3200 GT. This is a 2000, and yet more beige leather interior goodness. Very nice. There we go. Yeah, 3200 GT 2000. Excellent. It's good to know that I can actually get some of these things right for a change. Ooh, more Saab action here. I'd assume again this plate being on the car would mean it's about 1991, 1992 900 I convertible. So again, a late one for the first generation 900. That is rather agreeable. Okay, another car I'd like to try would be a Hyundai i30N. This one's been further modified to produce even more ludicrous amounts of power, I have no doubt. I heard this SG1 come in a little bit earlier. It's the V8 version. It's quite a late pre-facelift one. The facelift occurred, I think, around the end of 1981. This is a 79-280 plate. Rather nice. It's an auto. And it's a V8S, which is a sort of special version on the sort of late pre-facelift ones. Excellent. Right. Well, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching this Slightly Shambolic Shuffle. It was just as shambolic as ever. And thank you for the invitation to come to this event from Alan. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment below. But if you want to see some more sensible second-hand classics of the cars that I've indicated that we filmed yesterday and one we'll be filming today, and shall see you again soon. Lloyd Young Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below.